And now I would like to introduce our presenter for today's webinar, which is called as Dr. Sharifah Norzehan Syed Muhammad. Okay, I will read a few simple biography. Simple biography for Dr. Norzehan. Okay, as you said, Professor Dr. Sharifah Norzehan Syed Yusuf, currently a research fellow at RE and a lecturer at Faculty of Accountancy. She holds a PhD in accounting from UiTM and associate member of Chartered Institute of Management Accountant and a Chartered Global Management Accountant from CIMA UK. Dr. Sharifah Norzehan teaches strategic business leadership for ACCA program and a star trainer for CIMA. Her research interests are focused on the main heading of strategic management, management accounting, governance, risk and ethics, Islamic economy and accounting. Without further ado, I would like to invite our speaker to deliver her speech.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Diana. All right, Assalamualaikum to everyone. Okay, allow me to actually to switch off this particular video while I'm presenting actually. All right, so that it's going to be smooth. All right, okay, thank you. All right, let me share you my screen. The reason why I decided to choose this particular topic is because since I am actually teaching strategic business leadership, and there are a lot of issues that are actually related to financial reporting, which can actually halt an organization's aim to move towards future direction. Because of why? Because of lack of resources due to fraud, right? And one of the things that can actually contribute to that is the lack of resources that you have. Okay, definitely will actually halt you from moving forward. So since that in the accounting field, the accountants have started to look into what would be the best way to actually move forward and the best way to actually manage the resources of an organization is by having a better reporting system. And that's the reason why, now professional bodies in the accounting areas are focusing on integrated reporting. So in a way, this is a new area to be that you can actually venture into, because integrated reporting, though it has been introduced quite some time in 2013, but the issue of this particular reporting has already been discussed earlier on, and the birth of the Integrated Reporting Council in 2009 basically started off, and that particular meeting was actually chaired by the Prince of Wales. So because of that, because in Malaysia, most of our professional bodies, especially in the area of accounting, is actually championed by the British accounting system, British professional bodies like ACCA, CIMA, ICAW. They are all actually from UK. So let us look into what I'm going to present today. I'll be talking briefly on what is reporting, all right? Why that we need to actually report, and what is financial reporting, accounting, financial and statement fraud, types of fraud, and why integrated reporting, and can integrated reporting actually mitigate fraud. In explaining what reporting is, I will actually explain reporting from the perspective of an agency theory, and the reason why I chose agency theory to actually explain about reporting, so that all of you can actually understand why that we actually need to report, all right? Because agency theory basically is a theory that is very much used in political science and economics, and it's actually being introduced or being developed by Michael Jensen and William Macklin, all right, in 1970s, already 50 years. So in the agency theory, they talk about principal and agent relationship. So that means you have a person who have the assets and a person who's going to actually use that particular assets, and they are both different people. Let's say you're not able to utilize it, you ask someone to use it, but you want to know how they actually utilize it. So you need them to tell you how they have actually consumed those particular resources and what activities that they have conducted in using that particular resources. When I talk about resources in the context of a business, it means everything from manpower, we are talking about materials, we are talking about machines, and the most important thing is actually money. Money is very crucial because people always say no money, no talk. So basically you can't do much without money, right? Eventually at the end of the day, you say, oh, I can do this and that. Yes, but even if the money doesn't come from you, you can ask from someone, but still what you are asking from them is actually money for you to do something, all right? Even if it's a donation, right? At the end of the day, we also need some money. So as an accountant, I would like to compare it with a specialist in cardiologists. The reason why it is that way is because, all right, in accounting, we are actually taking care of the organization's most important elements, that is money. Money is actually the heart of an organization. Whereas to a human, okay, the heart is actually the most important organ in a human body, and the person who actually are expert in looking at that particular heart is the cardiologist. So like us, we are the accountants. So perhaps I can say that we are the financial cardiologists. Okay, so because of that particular reason, all right, that in the context of this particular agency relationship theory, okay, when we are actually having a business, when your business is too small, you are the one who is actually doing everything on your own. You buy the materials, you do this, all the activities actually are done by you. But as you grow, all right, you tend to hire people to do it for you. So when you hire people to do it for you, okay, as you grow bigger, there's always element of trust there. All right, can you trust them? And because of this particular issue of trust, that's the reason why that you want someone who's doing the work on your behalf to actually tell you what they have done for the day. So that is basically the concept of reporting. Okay, it used to start off with verbally, but eventually as you grow bigger, definitely it has to be written. Okay. And why do we report? Because report is basically a basic principle of corporate governance. Okay, it's a principle of good governance. Okay, you're trying to be transparent. You're telling people your responsibility. You are responsible, and you can be trusted. And when it comes to accountable, okay, we as a Muslim, we must always tell ourselves that our accountability is not here in this particular world only among us humans. But basically, this particular concept of accountability is also an accountability to Allah. Why? Another thing is that the analogy of report is, okay, trying to be transparent to show responsibility is basically similar to how you are with your kids. You give them some cash for them to spend in school. At the end of the day, you will actually ask them, okay, how did you use them? How do you spend your 3 ringgit? How do you spend your 5 ringgit? So why you ask? Because you want to know how they actually utilize that particular cash that you gave. But if they use it wisely, you are okay with it. But if they are not using it wisely, definitely, okay, it'll make you angry. But eventually you will tell them not to use it for that anymore and use it for something better. So that concept is similar to the concept of an organization whereby, like us here, we are lecturers, okay, we are teaching, and that's our main task in UITM. So basically, you are asked to do a lot of reports. Okay, you have to report the students, attendance, things like what's the purpose? Because this is to inform the management that, okay, at least they have some information that the students attend the classes. For example, you have to fill in all the ODL report or all sorts of reports that you have to. Basically, what the purpose of that report is to tell the management what's going on. All right. In accounting, we have financial reporting. All right. In accounting, we have financial reporting. And basically, what financial reporting is, we disclose financial results, all right? And when it comes to not just financial results that you will have inside the reporting, but you will also have other related information. For example, okay, the activities of the organizations that you will also disclose inside your financial report. You will have like your corporate governance, okay, and then your risk management activities, your corporate social responsibilities. So basically, all those elements are inside the financial reports. The reason why you have a financial reports because you have stakeholders. Okay, every organization have stakeholders, and stakeholders definitely will want to know what's going on. And from the meaning of stakeholders, it means that someone who are interested in what you are doing, and there are some of those particular stakeholders, they have a direct relationship with you, whereby not that they are interested, but they have the power to actually stop you from doing something. All right. So these are the kind of stakeholders who will actually be using this particular financial report. So here are some of the examples that you have. All right, you have internal stakeholders, you have external stakeholders. So basically, okay, these are the one who will be using the reports. Why do they need it? Because they want information about the organization. And definitely when it comes to information, what kind of information? Many kind of information, and basically that information can be summed up as a company's performance over a specific period of time. And these are some of the examples of the fraud. And if you were to see here, all right, financial statement fraud is basically one of those fraud that actually occurs in an organization. According to this particular survey by PwC, all right, 47% companies are experiencing fraud in the past 24 months. And then on average, right, 6 number of frauds that actually reported per company. It's not like the whole of the companies. It's per company for the past 24 months. And if you put it in USD, it's about 42 billion of total fraud losses, okay, reported by the respondents who actually took this particular survey. And out of the total fraud, 28% is actually accounting and financial fraud. Even though it looks, the figure is like only 28%, but let me show you this particular report here. All right. I hope you can see this, right? Okay. If you are to look at this particular report, this one is the report in 2020. So 2020 is actually okay, about 6 months, right? This was in April. So the information is for the first quarter of the year. And if you were to find that more than half of the occupational fraud actually coming from all these particular 4 departments, and its name here is actually accounting, right? Why? Because we actually have the direct access to those particular resources, especially cash. And another one that I want to show you here is that, okay, for the first quarter of 2020, okay, I just want you to look at the number, all right? Even though comparing with other type of occupational fraud, being committed, right? And financial statement fraud is only 10%, okay, as compared to corruption, as compared to asset misappropriation. But when you look at the amount of losses, though the percentage committed is only about 10%, but the amount of losses is the most, all right? So that's the reason why financial statement fraud it needs to be addressed, and it's crucial for organization to actually address this particular fraud. And because of that particular reason, all right, that's the reason why the International Federation of Accountants, okay, have come together basically, and the resolution was that, okay, they changed this particular traditional reporting into integrated reporting, and a reporting system that is more holistic, all right, basically. And the body that actually governs this particular integrated reporting is the International Integrated Reporting Council. And what they actually define about what integrated reporting is, it brings together material information. That means information that is very crucial, all right? Such as organization strategy, governance, performance, and prospects, in a way that it reflects the commercial, social, and environmental context within which it operates. So basically, they are talking about a reporting system that actually tells stakeholders the whole of the operation of that particular organization from A to Z. So what is actually integrated reporting? It's basically help business understand value they are creating. All right. Okay, why they say the gist of this particular integrated reporting is actually value creation and sustainability. So by understanding the value that they are creating, basically they are able to create those particular values. And example of those particular values are some maybe focusing on financial values, some are focusing on value for the society, value for employees or other stakeholders. And basically this is a holistic approach, all right? Because when we talk about business, people always focus on what? Profit. You do this to get profit. You do this to get this. You do this to get that, right? But basically, they are not actually looking into the life of that particular organization, all right? So one thing about integrated reporting is that they are trying to shift that kind of approach so that the new kind of reporting system will actually look into the whole system of the organization, not just within, but also outside the organization as well. And according to Helen Brand, all right, this is the chief executive of ACCA, integrated reporting is actually means to an end, okay, rather than an end to itself. The reason why she's saying this is that, okay, because of the need for accountants to do integrated reporting, okay, the accountants are required to have integrated thinking. But if you ask me, it's not just an accountant that are supposed to have this kind of thinking, but the whole system of the organization, that means all the employees must have this way of thinking as well. And because that not everyone are able to think holistically, so that would be a big challenge, because it's not easy for you to actually make other people to actually understand what you are saying or understand where you are heading to. Because if people can't see your direction, so that means it's not easy for you to actually explain to them, okay, the whole operation and the whole activities that you are going to do to move towards that particular direction. So, and since that not everyone have the same way of thinking, all right, and they're not speaking the same language. And that's why you find that it's difficult for you to have an effective communication among your staff. Okay, so because of this particular reason, that's the reason why integrated thinking, okay, you can have a research on this particular integrated thinking only. All right, looking into the readiness, okay, of the employees of an organization to have that kind of holistic thinking. Because when it comes to holistic thinking, when you do your work, you should be telling yourself what will be the output that I must actually provide to the person who is going to use it. And you are going to ask yourself as well, what will be the kind of input that you are supposed to get from someone else? So if everyone is actually having that kind of thinking, all right, and then in producing it, okay, in producing that particular output, you will actually produce the best of your output. So basically, you know what other people need and what you will be providing to other people, and indirectly, you will understand other people's tasks. But what we want under integrated thinking is that for everyone to actually understand what other people are doing as well. Not in detail, but at least you know the operations. So these are among the benefits that you can see about integrated thinking, okay? Because the more you are able to think, to have this integrated thinking, the clearer you will have on the operation or whatever problems that emerge, okay, along that particular process. But if you are not able to see it, then it's difficult for you to actually get a clear picture on whatever issues that crops up. Okay. Indirectly, if you actually know what is needed by other parties, okay, and what kind of output that you should be giving them, basically you will be able to improve the corporate reputation and stakeholder relationship, because you know what you want to give them, you know what they want, and you know what to give them. And indirectly as well, if you know what to give them, definitely you will try to find a way on how you are going to get that particular item to be given to them. So basically, okay, you will definitely have an employee engagement as well. All right. So your reporting becomes more efficient, and basically it helps you to improve your gross profit margin. So in order for you to have an effective integrated reporting, because under integrated reporting, organizations are required to actually report 6 capitals that are very crucial, okay? Because the current reporting system are not able to actually tell the stakeholders the movement of those particular resources in an organization, and hoping that with the integrated reporting in place, okay, it will be able to actually help stakeholders to understand the flow of all the operations in an organization. It's like when the investor gives the money to the organization, invest in an organization, the investor will know, okay, the movement of that particular money that they have already invested inside that organization, and it tells, okay, and this particular organization will be able to actually tell the stakeholder how they have actually utilized that particular money given to them. So in order for you to be able to actually report on every single activities, okay, you need to know every single operation. So that's the reason why here it says that integrated thinking and decision based on information set that is much broader, more connected, and more forward-looking. So the goal of the integrated reporting, International Integrated Reporting Council, is basically they want integrated thinking to be the main practice by all the public and private sectors to actually facilitate their integrated reporting. just like what we have to wear masks, things like that, it becomes the new norm. So the new norm in reporting is actually integrated reporting. But another thing that I am actually putting in here is perhaps integrated thinking should be our new thinking norm. All right. Basically, with an integrated thinking techniques that you have, all right, you will be able to put in place a lot of effective and efficient procedures in place. Okay, you'll be able to do that, okay, better. Why? And you are able to actually eliminate redundancies, basically, okay, if you are able to actually think thoroughly on how the whole operation, okay, how everything is actually in an organization operates. So indirectly, you will know what is good for the organization and what is not good for the organization. So because of that particular reason as well, okay, you will be able to think of the best way to move forward. All right. And in moving forward, you need to think of how you are going to move forward in short term, medium term, and long term. And basically what we see like is happening now is in addressing something that is abrupt, which is COVID-19. Okay, we have our short-term measure that at the end, okay, we resolve to ODL. All right, and bear in mind, perhaps ODL might be something that we have to bear with in the future, and definitely it started now. But perhaps the kind of technique for us to perform ODL now might not be that sophisticated. And if that is the direction, perhaps you can think of what would be the medium term strategy and what will be the longer term strategy in ensuring that UITM still remain relevant. And with the integrated thinking as well, okay, according to Dume here, all right, it will actually increase the cooperation between departments. I will talk about this particular cooperation for us as an educator, as lecturers, okay, the kind of cooperation that we can actually do, for example, here in UITM, to ensure that we can actually move towards the UITM's future direction together. So basically, integrated reporting actually promotes integrated thinking, because without integrated thinking, basically integrated reporting cannot be prepared. All right. So because the emphasis is actually value creation and connectivity. One thing about integrated reporting is that how, okay, it ensures that, okay, you can be effective and you can be efficient, is it helps to break down internal silos. Okay? It reduces duplication, it drives positive behaviors, all right, and it creates a more robust basis for identifying risks and opportunities. Okay, so when you talk about breaking down the silos, okay, we used to actually be working like most faculty will be doing their own type of research, all right, and you are concentrating on your own research and you don't even care about other people's research, all right. But is there any way that your expertise can actually be integrated with another person's expertise so that there will be synergy there? With integrated reporting, this is what they are aiming for. They want synergy, they want integration. They wouldn't want you to just work within your faculty members. You need to work with people from other faculties as well, all right? And you will find that some of the works that you are doing is actually duplication. For example, all right, in UITM, we have several faculties are basically coming from, they can actually teach certain papers together. For example, all right, we can teach certain papers together. But because that we are sitting in our own faculty, teaching our own faculty only, right? The resources that we have is actually on focusing only on our own faculty. Yet, the expertise that you have can actually help to teach other similar subject in another faculty. So sharing of resources is actually basically one way for you to actually reduce duplication. That's the reason why most organizations now are focusing on shared services. So basically, all right, one thing that I'm grateful to be in RE is that I see the process of integrated thinking is actually being embedded and assimilated into the whole RE system, whereby, okay, we work together, we break these particular silos. We don't, I mean, every single research fellow, every research fellow basically will have their own experience and their own specialization. But basically, okay, if you are just doing your research alone, then you wouldn't get much. And because of that particular reason, okay, we actually work together. We come from various disciplines in RE. So what we have is that we work together so that the kind of research that we are producing is actually the kind of research that allows an integration, okay, to take place in it. All right. So when you have that kind of integration, so it's easy for your kind of research to be actually published in an international journal, and at the same time, you are able to actually bring this forward, or you can internationalize it. All right. So basically, that's the thing that we had in RE, which actually the element of integrated thinking is already there. Because of that reason as well, everybody is positive about moving towards the long-term direction and success of RE. And you can see that you will work, definitely, though there are lots of work that you do, but because of the driving this integrated thinking, and you can see the direction, even though there are lots of work that you do, okay, you are supposed to be doing, but you are willing to do it and you are happy to do it. So this is the kind of culture basically that integrated reporting is actually trying to inculcate. And because of that particular reason as well, you will have a more robust basis of identifying risks and opportunities. Reason being, if you are from various backgrounds, you are able to see things differently. And when you put this together, it becomes something that is great. So the question now is, can integrated reporting actually mitigate fraud? If you realize the journey that I'm bringing you towards this particular question is that I'm talking about holistically throughout this particular presentation. And under the IIR International Integrated Reporting Framework, whoever that works in an organization must actually understand the organizational business model. Because why? It's actually because you need to understand the system of transforming transforming your input in your organization, all right, through activities that you have in your organization, so that you'll be able to produce outputs and outcomes. And basically, in order for you to fulfill this, you need to know the aim of your organization. You need to know the strategic priorities of the organization. Like us, what is the priority of UITM? And in that way, okay, you will be able to create value over a short-term, medium, and a long-term period. And since we have already covered about the integrated thinking in breaking silos and all this reducing duplication, understanding business models, okay, if you were to see through what I've already presented to you just now, this one is actually divided into the tactical and the strategic level. if you look at this particular tactical level, all right, this is the most crucial level because this level is actually focusing on a sort of a forensic analysis of the mechanics of the business model. That means how that business model operates in detail. When you have that particular detailed analysis on your entire company or organization, you will be able to know the good things about it and the bad things about it as well. And you will know where are the loopholes of that particular system. Once you are able to see the bigger picture on where can go wrong, you will be able to develop a better system to mitigate those particular to mitigate that particular risk. For example, a simple example of a fraud. If you understand the whole operation of the organization, the entire forensic analysis of that organization, you will know in which particular part or in which particular area that fraud can actually take place. All right? The integrated reporting needs you to do that. Because only when you are able to do that, that you'll be able to produce this particular report. And to produce that particular report, you need to have that integrated thinking for you to be able to see things from a bigger picture and then narrow it down to specific areas to actually see what can go wrong in those particular areas. All right, so the one that is very crucial here is actually focusing on this particular tactical level. And another one that is strategic level, if it's just only the tactical level staff that actually understands the whole business process, but the top management doesn't understand, then there's no point. So it needs two to tango, all right? So at the strategic level, they need to actually understand how these particular organizations that are sitting in as a board member, okay, creates those particular values. And once they know and see whether the current model that they are choosing is actually the right model, okay, then these particular board members will be able to actually know which direction that they should move forward. Let's see what the future brings, okay, when it comes to this implementing integrated reporting, all right? So when it comes to integrated reporting, okay, basically it allows an alignment, I would say, between the whatever that you have in your profit and loss accounts, the business model, and your short and long-term planning process. So basically, you are putting everything in perspective. And it helps organization to have a better or the right target, where to move to, and it creates a better relationship among the employees in an organization. Okay, why this particular reporting is very crucial is actually, all right, it tells you the movements of your resources. So in moving forward, all right, you need that particular resources to move forward. So if you have fraud will actually take up those particular resources. So you will have lesser resources. So it's difficult for you to move forward. All right, it's just like, okay, you have kept, okay, certain amount of cash for you to buy something. If somebody were to steal it, that means you will not be able to buy what your dream thing just now. Similar thing. All right. So basically, when you are able to actually work together, you know what other people are doing, all right? It creates a check and balance. And people are afraid to actually commit whatever, you know, all these unethical activities. So indirectly, you will be able to have a good governance, and with good governance, it will lead you to a good reputation. With this particular good reputation, it means that chances of you moving towards your direction and at the end having a long-term sustainability will be feasible. All right. So basically, that's what this particular integrated thinking and reporting is all about. So this is something maybe that you can think of. How would it applied in your discipline? Some example, for example, I was talking about integrated thinking, and how to make our students to think this way. Are we going to make our students to think holistically? Because not everyone has that particular same cognitive level, all right? So, but is there any way that we as a researcher, able to actually prepare a module that enable them, to be elevated from the level that they are now into the level whereby they are able to think holistically. So basically, perhaps education can come in. Those from psychology can actually come in, all right? And in the context of integrated reporting itself, all right, not all accountants can, because of that particular, people are different. Not everyone are actually a strategist. So some people are not able to see where you are heading to. But is there any way that you are able to create a system using an artificial intelligence that can actually help you to move forward? And anyone who actually prepares this particular integrated reporting will be able to prepare it with the help of a system. This is something that we can actually talk about. And this is where, right, an integrated research, I would say, the interdisciplinary research is crucial. Because if we work alone, all right, we will not be able to achieve what we are planning to achieve. And only if that we work together that we will be able to go to the direction that we want. That's where we can actually excel. And when we excel together, not just us alone. And whatever that we are doing, your ITM will excel indirectly. So these are some of the resources which, if you feel that you want to look into, you want to read further, these are some of the resources that you may want to browse later. All right. Okay, thank you very much. And if you have questions, then I will answer whatever that I can answer. All right. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sharifah Norzehan, for the fruitful presentation. Now, I would like to open for the question from the participant. Before we get the question, I just to ask you, maybe from the perspective view, because I'm in the science department, so it's quite new term for today webinar. What is quite interesting, does this technique have been applied in your ITM or any faculty?
So far,
because I just pick up the point, the good point, the benefit of this method.
Perhaps some may have taken it indirectly, and perhaps they are not able. Perhaps they don't know that is the integrated thinking or the holistic thinking. But not many are able to actually do it. But to really use that particular term of integrated thinking, basically, those in accounting and maybe some in political science who are doing like professional qualification, ICSA, I think they are quite familiar with the term of integrated thinking.
Okay, talking about the platform or software, do we have any specific software that help us to integrate all the report and finally become an integrated report?
So far, not that I know. So basically, this is a good research area to be ventured into. That was like, calling for people, whoever, in whichever disciplines. If you're an expert in AI, you are expert in whatever system that you have, sensor.
Yes, I see the potential for your ITM. Because we are in the science department, science faculty, we have a lot of research, we have a lot of data. But when talking about the integration, we basically focus on our own research interest.
Yeah.
So I think when we have the platform or software that help us, or in other words, we try to stimulate our researcher to put their data, and finally maybe UITM can have means AI, maybe in terms of AI, can analyze all that point.
Right. So
Okay,
yes,
Dr. Sharifah, we take the first question.
yes.
Okay, from Rogayah Abdul Rahim.
Mm.
Okay, can integrating financial reports hide fraud in the organization? Let's say in a multinational organization, for example.
Yeah. So you are
So,
saying that with the use of integrated reporting, can it actually hide uh,
uh,
all this financial fraud? I would say.
yes.
So I think she's referring to financial statement fraud. So basically, all right, the purpose of integrated reporting is actually to minimize the chances of people to commit that financial statement fraud. The reason being, all right, with this integrated thinking, all right, as a fundamental way of thinking in preparing that particular integrated report, okay, it requires an accountant to actually move from one particular department to another. So once an accountant knows what's going on in every department, the detailed operation is quite difficult, right, for a person to commit it unless there are collusions. That one we can help until later, perhaps if someone were to report about it, perhaps we will know about it.
Okay, in case the company or already experience the fraud, okay, based on the report, how that integrated report help them to troubleshoot the problem, the issue?
Integrated reporting, okay, once in the preparation of integrated reporting, basically, okay, you will actually scrutinize every aspect that should be actually put inside the report. The process of, scrutinizing and doing the audit that will actually help you, okay, to see whether there are some problems or not in each and every of those particular departments.
Okay. Another question from Dr. Hadinan Taufik. Okay,
Yeah.
negara manakah yang boleh dijadikan contoh the best practice dalam integrating financial report?
Okay. Most of the companies, okay, yang banyak practice integrated reporting, because it is actually being championed by the UK, the British, basically yang ramai yang from ACCA, from CIMA. Okay, so some of the European companies yang practicing, kebanyakan yang dalam research made by ACCA, alright, the one that actually practice a good integrated reporting, one of those countries are German organizations. Germany.
We're talking about preparing this kind of report. Is it in terms of financial? Means invest cost. So how about it?
Okay, basically, since you're asking that, basically, okay, I didn't put it inside my slides because I think if I were to talk about integrated reporting, it takes hours and hours. But when it comes to integrated reporting, basically the things that you will be reporting is there will be 6 main items that you'll be reporting, basically. It's not just financial. Financial is a start-off point whereby when you receive that particular money, when you get that particular money from the investor, all right, you will have to report the flow of that particular money, where it goes to, and how do you actually use it for another 5 purposes. For example, it has to incorporate, okay, intellectual capital. It has to cover social capital, social relationship. That means the relationship with your stakeholders. All right. And then human resource. Okay. How did actually you use it for your employees, and whatever activities that are related to human resource will also need to be reported there. All right. And then you're talking about as well manufacturing capital, okay, that are related to your core activities, okay? And then you will also be reporting on how those particular activities that you have in your organization basically help in the sustainability of the natural resources. So these are among the things that actually must be covered, okay, in an integrated report.
Okay, any more question from the participant? Because I keep seeing Juan in and out here.
Yes, he's going to come in again and kick out again.
Coming. I don't know how to control this participant. Okay, any more question before we wrap up this session?
Assalamualaikum.
Yeah.
Pagi, Prof. Doctors. I'm from Sarawak, Ain. So I want to ask you about your perception and your experience while doing this integrated reporting. I am aware that integrated reporting has been practiced in a wide scale in private sector, but in public sector, I think that is not the case. So I want to know, when you are doing this kind of research, have you go and see or take some perspective from how our state of integrated reporting in public sector first? And the second one, I think when we talk about integrated reporting, we emphasize more on creating value, and like you say just now, we have the framework including risk and opportunity to be disclosed. So long before we come to integrated reporting, I believe we have something that we call whistleblower policy that is related to risk assessment. So I want to know, in your experience, how efficient this whistleblower policy as a mechanism to detect fraud and apart, or is it just, you know, a beautiful element in your integrated reporting which not has been used to the maximum level by the organization? So I just want to know your experience while doing this kind of research.
Okay.
Thank you.
Basically, you're asking about whistleblowing, all right? Okay, yes, I also do research on whistleblowing and finding out, okay, to what extent that, okay, employees will whistleblow, but basically in the context of our Malaysian citizen, especially we are talking about, because I did my students conducted a study on whistleblowing intention in public sector. So basically the answer is that most wouldn't want to actually whistleblow because they don't quite trust the system. So that's the finding that we got. All right, but to what extent it is true, okay, we still need to actually do further research. And you are asking as well just now about the integrated reporting, how it would be actually helping the public sector. CIMA has already come up with a framework proposing how our public sector should actually apply integrated reporting. Integrated reporting has been applied in other European countries, but in Malaysia, it's still at an infant stage, right? They are trying, ACCA is actually trying to promote more in actually venturing into it. Not many companies are willing to actually venture, but when they did a research on the type of reporting they're currently doing, basically most of the elements that they have there can be tied up with the elements that is required in an integrated reporting. So basically that's the research that I'm actually doing now, is looking into some of the non-profit organization, okay, in terms of their financial report, to see to what extent that they have report and what's the gap between their reporting system now with the one that's required by the Integrated Reporting Council. So I think in Malaysia we are still like trying to actually, you know, make people use it. I hope that answer your question.
I see. Thank you, Doctor. Because I think nowadays with a lot of political fiasco and then, you know, bad reputation of government companies. So I do see that maybe this integrated reporting is being implemented in public sector, it
Not
can
yet.
help to instill people trust to
Yeah,
our
not yet.
government. Yeah, in terms of
If you are
managing
interested,
government.
no,
Sorry?
Raini, if you are interested, like have a look at a SEMA integrated reporting for public sector.
I see. Okay, I will take a look on that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Prof.
All right.
Okay, Dr. Sharifah, we have another one question. How can we harmonize multiple stakeholder need of information in an integrated report? Different stakeholder may require a lot of info while others don't.
Okay, basically, before there are a lot of things that need to be actually done. Okay, before we are able to harmonize it. First thing is stakeholder analysis. This is something that we really need to actually, sit down and really do it, because you need to see who are our key stakeholders which you should be paying attention to, as compared to some tiny weeny stakeholders who doesn't have, it doesn't contribute much impact to your company. So understanding stakeholder is the most important thing in an organization. So that is part of the journey that I was mentioning to you just now, where the understanding business model on the part of tactical level, that you are doing some sort like a forensic analysis on the detail operation. And that's where as well you need to actually understand who the stakeholders are at the strategic level. So these two needs to tango. All right, these two needs to tango. If it doesn't, then it's going to be very difficult for you to determine who is who, okay? Who is more important. In whichever organization, even in UITM, we need to actually put it down and understand who are our main stakeholders that we need to pay attention to. Okay, whom, if they are not happy, can actually topple down the whole of UITM. So if you know who they are, basically, most importantly, your direction should actually be helping to address them.
Okay, one more question.
Yes.
If a report does not fully adhere to the international framework, can it still be called as an integrated report?
Basically, the requirement of integrated report is it has to be performed, it has to be prepared according to the standard.
Any more question from the participant? Okay, we already reached 11 o'clock. Any more question? Okay, I think we may wrap up the session for today. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharifah Norzehan, for the information, for the knowledge that you share with us. Okay, again, on behalf of the NCPI office, I apologize for the technical issue for today. And hopefully you are happy to get the information, and hope we can see you again in another webinar. Okay, thank you so much everyone.
Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, Assalamualaikum.